Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Let's remove the frilly packaging and let's get this started. It doesn't matter if you're Anthony Joshua or any fighter. Just because I support, it don't mean I won't report. It is what it is. Eddie Hearn saying maybe Anthony Joshua will look at the result of Fury and Usyk to decide what his next move is, rather than target the February date with Daniel Dubois. The IBF have actually gave both parties until April. Now Eddie Hearn's saying let's look at the Usyk Fury rematch before deciding what to do. Is not Eddie Hearn's decision for Anthony Joshua. That is Team Joshua's decision. Yeah? Eddie's job is to come out and articulate it like this is me, the promoter's advice to AJ. But no, it's not actually. It's the other way around. Just like Ben Shalom talking about Fabio Wardley's customized fly gloves and any alleged irregularities with them gloves is not Ben Shalom's message. It's Fraser Clark's message. It's called PR. It's called damage control for the commodity. The promoter must put it out there to the public that the show is ready to go on road at any time. The performers, the coaches, the boxers are all ready to go, but we have a little minor technicality. It's called PR. In previous losses, 2019, when AJ lost in a massive upset to Andy Ruiz, he got his get back within 4 or 5 months. 10 months between the two Usyk losses. But in the first Usyk fight, he wasn't knocked out or beaten as badly as he was by Dubois. The Ruiz fight, it turned around on one punch. AJ was dominating, and some people will say he had issues before getting in the ring at the MSG. The February Dubois fight will be 5 months between the September the 21st date and a potential rematch. I don't believe AJ's going to be fighting him in February. I just don't believe it. And because I'm looking at it and like, Anthony should wait for the result of Usyk versus Fury 2. And now Eddie Hearn's saying AJ's injured, he's got minor injuries, and it's a matter of timing. May rather than February will be a better date, but May will extend the April timeline that the IBF gave them. It might be a great payday for Dubois, but there's other great paydays out there, and he's not going to wait around for Anthony Joshua. And I'm going to assume the IBF are not going to wait around either. Dubois is actually taunting Anthony Joshua, baiting him to take the rematch. Dubois will probably be upset if the rematch doesn't happen because Anthony Joshua ensures him the bag and he believes he can win it easy again. He had his number in the first fight. Could AJ beat Dubois? Yes, he could, but it's going to take a rebuild. I'm not going to play stupid and tell you guys he could just go straight in February and change that result. This is different to the first Andy Ruiz and the first Usyk fights. This is a little different. Amid talks of a potential rematch, Dubois believes that Joshua will have demons in his mind. He says who knows if people are trying to convince him into taking the fight, but Dubois said he's ready to again show the world that he's the king. There is no easy way back for Anthony Joshua. There is no easy way. He has to go over the fight, be honest with himself, look at the mistakes, look to rectify the mistakes, get his confidence back, control the demons, and all of this is doable, just maybe not by February or May. He will return to the ring though. Critics or fans, it's not up to neither of us to put a limit on what a two-time unified former Olympic gold medalist can do, whether he can come back or not, whether you think he's a good fighter or not. In your opinion, you probably think it's a write-off, but when I assessed Deontay Wilder, he's won 4 out of his last 5. Did I say he's done? No, I said if he comes back, I believe he should get rid of Malik Scott. He needs to refocus on what he's going to do if he goes straight into a big fight or if he builds up a momentum of fights. I don't advocate for no fighter to retire. I don't do that. I always keep it real. Like, don't listen to what other people say about the channel. Listen and check it out for yourself.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
You said to him immediately after that Joshua fight, you said that you're going to beat Usyk, then you're going back to get that IBF belt. Is that how you still think?
I'll beat Daniel Dubois, but I'll tell you what it is, I won't be boxing him for his belt. Because they're biased, obviously. They're a biased company who don't like the Gypsy King. They must be racist towards travellers or something, I'm not sure. Because it doesn't add up. It's not like joining together.
Tyson Fury said he won't fight Daniel Dubois for the IBF belt. He'd rather fight him for the British title. So is he saying if he wins the 3 belts back from Usyk, he won't go after Dubois? The IBF dropped him out of the rankings after he lost to Usyk, and he said they're a biased organisation. He said if he got the belt, he'd go on YouTube and burn the belt. He said he just lost to someone who they consider pound for pound best in the sport, and they've dropped him out the top 15, and he's asking why. There's also the issues he had with the sanctioning body in 2016. They were the first to strip him, wasn't they? He was actually stripped in December, literally a couple of weeks after he defeated Vladimir Klitschko to become unified champion. He signed a rematch clause with Klitschko when his mandatory with the IBF was coming up, Glashkov. And then he had all the issues with the cocaine, the PEDs, his own personal demons, and he gave up the other 2 straps. So that's probably even more reason why he's not a fan of the IBF. There's history.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
You gave away the first couple of rounds by boxing on the back foot, and next match they're going to jump on you from the first bell.
No, I'm not going to do anything different. The only thing I'm going to do different is not get a standing 8 count in round 9. If I didn't get a standing 8 count, I'd have won the fight clearly. I just got to be a bit more focused. Here's the thing, right? I'm a very, very, very educated heavyweight boxer. I know it from inside out. If it was easy to walk Usyk down with your hands up like that there, walking forward, then that's Anthony Joshua's style. That's Daniel Dubois' style. They're big, strong men who walk someone down with their hands up and batter them into submission and knock them out. They couldn't do it. My style is slickness, jabbing, moving, slipping and sliding. Why would I give that up to walk forward like that with my hands around my head? It doesn't make sense. I wouldn't do it. So all I've got to do to win this rematch, little tiny adjustments. And I mean small adjustments. And that is not so much clowning, my hands behind my back, ha 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 ha, having a good time. Yeah. A little bit more focus on my job. Bum, bum.
More uppercuts.
Serious, do you know what I mean? Just a serious, version of what I already did. Not go forward like this or like this. Just boxing. I've told him what I'm going to do. He said, what's the game plan? I said, there's no change, mate. It was a nip and cluck fight. You got the decision. Fantastic. Obviously, I know he can hurt me. And I'll just focus a little bit more and I should get the job done.
Small adjustments. No more clowning. No more dropping his hands behind his back. And more focus. One thing for sure, in the press conference, we didn't see a cocky, gimmicky Tyson Fury. He was very sobered up after that first L of his pro career in May gone. Has he been humbled by the ultimate enigma of boxing? The unified heavyweight champion was now 3 title defenses behind him. Alexander Usyk, undisputed heavyweight champion actually, lineal heavyweight champion actually, who came into the press conference at the Guildhall, where they used to hold a lot of cards back in the day. Regular cards, boxing and dinner events, etc. He came in there as a hitman with a briefcase. In the briefcase was a picture of him slapping Tyson around the ring in the 9th round, which he asked Tyson to sign, and he said he's going to put it on eBay tomorrow. So Tyson is now leaving all the gamesmanship to Usyk. He's got it all to do to focus on this rematch. I doubt John Fury will be in the corner. Andy Lee and Sugar Hill know what they're doing. They don't need the extra interference. It's going to be difficult enough. Just them giving Tyson Fury instructions without a third voice. A third unnecessary voice for that matter. Fury actually surprised me with his skill set in the first fight. And look, you can't win them all. Maybe Usyk is the bogeyman. We'll see. But win, lose or draw, I think he's right. They don't need to make major adjustments. That would just complicate things for Tyson Fury right now. He needs to be more consistent. He needs more quantity. He has the quality to beat Usyk. The quantity, however, is going to be the issue. Quantity in terms of how many punches he throws. He needs to have a sustained attack to the body. You have to do so much things to beat Usyk. Sustained attack to the body. He needs to keep Usyk on the back foot for prolonged periods, which isn't easy because Usyk comes there for a fight. You know, I think there's this picture of Usyk being a defensive runner. He actually is quite an aggressive fighter, like Ben Davison pointed out. You got to keep him at bay. You got to keep him on the back foot for prolonged periods. Sustained body attack. The taller, bigger man Fury's got to keep it in the ring center for sustained periods. Can't switch off. He knows this. That's why he's saying more focus. It's a difficult task, which looks easier, I think, to most of the people who face Usyk from the outside. But when they go in there, I think it's one of the hardest conundrums to work out in heavyweight history. I'd go that far, yeah. Not just modern day boxing, in history. I think Tyson rubbishing the high guard of Anthony Joshua and Danny Dubois Could be an oversight, but I'm not Sugar Hill. I'm not getting paid to coach him. AJ's high guard actually served him pretty well in the second Usyk fight until Usyk took over in the championship rounds. Usyk himself was walking down Fury for much of the fight behind the high guard. He transitioned from the high guard with the left hook that hurt Fury in the ninth. I don't think Fury has the legs to keep range like he did in the first Wilder fight or in the Vladimir Klitschko fight. I don't think he has the legs. And him saying that he's not the stereotypical Joshua Dubois basic boxer, hands up, plodding forward. Well, what is he then? Because he needs to identify who he is before he goes in that ring with Usyk. Because Usyk knows who he is and he knows what he can do from what he shouldn't do. Usyk was the first to correct the Joshua mistake when he was floored by Dubois, saying if you want to be evasive, you use your feet to step back. You don't just lean backwards like that and let the punch clatter into your skull and there's no comeback after that. I've heard Tyson Fury praise the Floyd Mayweather skill set. Didn't Floyd used to use the high guard and walk people down? Or am I mistaken? If his feet ain't getting him round as quick as they used to, what is his stationary defense going to be? Well, he's got away with being twitchy and spontaneous in the ring, but now he's talking about no clowning around, got to be more focused. Can he maintain this for 12? Or at least long enough that he's got a strong foothold in the fight? We know Usyk, maintaining focus and concentration is what he does best. He's not necessarily the hardest puncher, doesn't have the longest jab. He is quick though, and he's very tactically astute. Tyson chooses to have a boxing match with Usyk. I see Usyk outthinking him. And then Fury will have to revert back to type and try his improvised, spontaneous boxing, where he drops his hands and mocks his opponent. Might not work against Alexander Usyk. Tyson's dexterity for a man that size, though, is why you can't write him off totally. If he can use his bulk to drain Usyk's battery, which he didn't do in the first fight, it could be a dour struggle right down to the last decimal. It's hard to pick against Usyk because, like, Fury said he's going to make minor adjustments. Usyk won, and he too will probably make minor adjustments and try to improve on his first performance, so it's hard to pick against him. Fury, 36 years of age, Usyk 37. Usyk had to be assisted out of the ring in the first fight by his comrade. Frank Warren said Usyk had a broken jaw, which Team Usyk denied. And as talented as he is, as resilient as he is, the wear and tear is taking its toll. But how much wear and tear does Tyson have, and can he take advantage of any potential decline in Usyk? Usyk didn't turn up to the post-fight presser. He was taken to hospital. They said it wasn't for the broken jaw. When Tyson Fury says he's going to be more focused this time, less clowning around, I believe Fury is going to fight a safety first, perhaps some may term negative fight. Boring. He's going to try and keep it in the ring center, keep the jab going, no frills. If the opportunity comes that he can use his bulk and lean on Usyk and drain his battery, there'll be a lot of clinching as well. Because if he said he's not going to use the high guard, he's got to go to the clinch, or he's going to get beaten up in there. Usyk has the better legs. Fury don't really have the legs like that. We saw that in the Ngannou fight.
Obviously, I know he can hurt me.
Like I said, Fury has been humbled. There's no bug-eyed, ugly, gap-teeth foreigner. He was totally sober, and he's acknowledged that Alexander can hurt him. And he has to have respect for Alexander Usyk, the middleweight he once called. He's got to have respect, and he's got to adjust accordingly. He's got to be functional. Doesn't have to be exciting, he's got to be functional. Because if you lose your game plan, Usyk will be right there to show you his one. I think it's going to be a pretty close fight, but Usyk still has the edge in my opinion. I picked him first time around. I don't think I'm going to change the pick.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Did you expect Queensbury to put you next to Johnny Fisher yesterday?
No, I ain't got no bad blood with Johnny. I haven't really called him out. He's not really like the type of person I'm looking to fight. But if the fight was to present itself, I'll take it 100%.
He essentially, what he just said to me when I spoke to him, is it's got to be for a certain amount of money. Did you get that from his view?
Yeah, of course. I said it last week. I said, why would he fight a 19-year-old who could possibly end his career?
That's a fight we can take, 110%. But at the minute, I'm the one who's got the crowd. I'm the one who brings all the atmosphere, the occasion right now. And I just need my value to be recognised in any fight that I go into, whether that's an Itauma or any of the domestic heavyweights. I'm open for business with anyone. but it's got to make sense for me at the same time.
So Johnny, he can sell out the O2, he's the ticket seller. And without saying it, he hinted that the likes of Moses Itauma cannot sell out a copper box, and the fight's got to make sense for Johnny, financial sense. Now, Johnny and Eddie can use that to perhaps avoid fights. For how long, though, is the question. Itauma, 10 wins, 8 inside the distance, is already taking on tougher opposition. Dempsey McKean is fringe world class as far as I'm concerned on the strength of the performance against Zagovic. Big, strong, athletic, and he's a better opponent than Dave Allen, who Johnny fights on the 21st, and he's better than Alan Babbage, in my opinion. They're both calling people out. Moses called out Otto Wallin, he called out Joseph Parker. Johnny didn't so much call people out, but he did tell Simon Jordan he could knock Fabio Wardley out, and Simon responded.
I don't see Johnny Fisher fighting Fabio Wardley anytime soon. I don't see Fabio Wardley having that on his radar. Yeah. He's up and away now. His opportunities are going in a different direction. Johnny's establishing himself.
Right.
But he's a good lad, Johnny Fisher, and he deserves all the opportunities he gets.
But, you know, for domestic boxing, things done change. Like, you can't stay hidden away in-house no more because Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren work together now. The Saudi bag takes away A-side privileges. It takes away he can't sell and he's not popular disadvantages, and it evens up the playing field. So Johnny will get this give me. It should be a give me against Dave Allen, and then after that, unless he's satisfied with just doing the copper box, the next time he collects a RIYADH bag, he will be taking on a Moses Itauma. Maybe not a Fabio Wardley, because as Simon said, Fabio is up, but away, moving on from domestic level. But Johnny Fisher, Moses Itauma, they could be taking on the likes of a Fraser Clark next year. Fraser trying to rehabilitate himself. Them type of fights. Lawrence Okolie just signed to Queensbury. Are we going to get that Fabio Wardley fight? I told you what happened on the poll, didn't I? 3 years ago I took the poll. It was 89% in Lawrence Okolie's favour on who would win. I took it again this week. It was 90% in Fabio Wardley's favour. I'd love to see it. Frank Warren has no choice but make good heavyweight fights for next year because he's got too much there at the stable. Tyson Fury's still there. Daniel Dubois, IBF champion. Fabio Wardley. Lawrence Okolie. Solomon Dacus. David Adilier. And probably more I've missed. He's got too much there. And the fact he can get top dollar for these fights, whether he does them on TNT or on RIYADH season, I expect to see that fight announced. I do.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.